Yeah, I want to speak to you guys about a very serious issue in our community. And that is the issue of spiritually malnourished Africans. A lot of people talk about high value and low value. A lot of people talk about high value and low value. I don't operate in the dichotomy of high value and low value. I don't operate in that dichotomy. I operate in the dichotomy when observing other Africans. I operate in the dichotomy of spiritually emancipated and spiritually malnourished. That is the continuum that I'm looking at you. That is the lens I'm using through which I'm looking at you. Are you spiritually emancipated or are you spiritually malnourished? Because if you are spiritually emancipated, I don't have to worry about trauma. I don't have to worry about jealousy. I don't have to worry about envy. I don't have to worry about selfishness. I don't have to worry about narcissism. I don't worry about competition, attention seeking. When you are spiritually emancipated, I don't have to worry about that. But when you are spiritually malnourished because you pay more attention to your career than your soul, spiritually malnourished, you pay more attention to the car you drive and the house you live in than the condition of your soul. Spiritually malnourished, you care more about hair and shoes and clothes and vacations and partying more than the condition of your soul. That's what matters to me. That's what matters to me. Spiritually malnourished Africans will never understand the worldview of a spiritually emancipated African. And if you are a spiritually emancipated African, it's going to be difficult for you to coexist with a spiritually malnourished African. You see, spiritually malnourished Africans, they are trapped in a world of constantly craving attention and various needs and wants. Their whole life is about needs and wants, fears and worries. Spiritually malnourished Africans, they care what people think about them. They care about how people see them. They care about how they come across to other people. Don't get me wrong. It's okay to have a little bit of a social IQ. It's okay to have a little bit of a social IQ, but when you are preoccupied with how you look to other people, when you're more concerned about how you look to other people than how you look to yourself, when the others matter more than you, when you care more about what they think than what you think, that's an issue. Some of you live in spiritually malnourished families. If you came from a spiritually malnourished family, this is a family that cares about how they look to the neighborhood, how they look in church, how they look to their coworkers. Children might can't stand them. Husband might can't stand the wife. Wife might can't stand the husband. Inside the house, it might be toxic and unhealthy, but as long as we look good to the world, as long as we look good to the world, as long as we look good to the world, that's all that matters. How many of you know people who got married because of how it looked to the world? They couldn't even stand each other. But she said, I'm pregnant and I can't afford to be out here with a baby not married to the man, and the man don't even like the woman, but he's worried about how he looks to his business partners and how he looks to his church. And so they go and get married and they don't even like each other because they care about how it looks to the world. Spiritually malnourished Africans. Let me say this to you. If you are on the spiritual journey, If you are on the spiritual path, and it don't matter what religion you use to get there, the road does not matter. How well you walk the road. If you want to use the road of Islam to get back to divine oneness with the Creator, if you want to use the road of Christianity to get back to divine oneness with the Creator, if you want to use the Hebrew faith as your pathway to get back to divine oneness, if you want to be Nation of Islam or God and Earth or Nuwapian or Seventh-day Adventist, Episcopalian, Methodist, if you want to be a Jehovah's Witness, or if you want to create your own specialized spiritual program, because I'm a very big fan of you creating your own specialized spiritual program. Whatever road you use to get back to divine oneness with the Almighty, that's your business. Use whatever road you want to use. Use whatever road you want to use. But when you are on a spiritual path, you will care more about what you think, less about what the world thinks. When you are on a spiritual path, what people say about you, think about you, and do to you will begin to matter less. When you are on a spiritual path, you will become so detached from the everyday fears and anxieties and lusts and addictions of the world. You will begin to feel like an alien in outer space. You will become a spiritual alien, because the things that send other people into suicidal rants and depressive episodes, the things that send other people into panic attacks, the things that send other people into bouts of hopelessness, it won't even matter to you no more. The more spiritually liberated that you become, the more spiritually liberated that you become, the more spiritually liberated that you become, the less what other people have matters, the less what other people think matters. The more spiritually liberated you become, the more peaceful you will become, even around your enemies. Your enemies won't even understand you no more. The things they used to say that got under your skin don't even matter no more. When you become spiritually liberated, you stop holding grudges. There's no jealousy in you. There's no envy in you. And you don't lust after relationships, personal or romantic. When you start getting spiritually liberated, you're not lusting after relationships no more, personal or romantic. You are fine being your own company when you are spiritually liberated. You don't have to go to the club every day. You ain't got to go to Spiritually liberated people are the most peaceful people on earth. They have nothing to prove, nothing to gain. But the problem is a lot of people who are close to spiritual liberation. A lot of people who are close to spiritual liberation have spiritually malnourished people in their lives that they care about. And one of the toughest things as a spiritually liberated African to do is to leave behind spiritually malnourished Negroes who don't want to grow. Your husband don't want to grow. Your wife don't want to grow. Your son, your daughter, your aunt, your uncle, your mother, your father, your best friends, your frat brothers, your sorors, your church family, they don't want to go. You're ready to go to the next level. You are knocking on the spiritual door of going to the next level of your God consciousness. But you got people you love who you don't want to leave. And so now you're about to sacrifice your spiritual growth. You got people you love who you don't want to leave. And now you're about to sacrifice your spiritual growth because you feel guilty. You feel guilty prioritizing your own spiritual needs. You feel guilty prioritizing your own spiritual needs. The only thing harder than growing up spiritually is giving up relationships that no longer serve you. The only thing harder than growing up spiritually is giving up relationships that no longer serve you because of guilt, shame, and remorse. Those three demons have sucked the life out of more Africans than I can count. Guilt, shame, and remorse. You feel guilty because you're in a better place spiritually. You don't want to sit around and smoke weed all day no more. You don't want to sit around and get high no more. You don't want to hang out at the club no more. You don't need to go on vacation 4 times a year. You have grown. But you knew your best friend since kindergarten. You knew your best friend since 2nd grade. His mother, her father took you into their home when you were homeless. They cared for you. They looked after you. And you appreciate them for what they did for you and your family at your time of need. But now, you are on the runway. You are on the runway to a higher spiritual takeoff, and they don't want to come with you. And you like, they did so much for me. I wouldn't be who I am right now without these people. Is it really acceptable for me to fly and not bring them with me? That's not the question you should be asking. The question isn't whether or not it's acceptable for you to fly and not take them with you. That's not the question. The question is, are you willing to live with the fact God gave you an opportunity to reach another pinnacle of your spiritual existence and you turned it down so you could cater to the wounds of a spiritually malnourished African? High value, low value, that means nothing to me. Are you spiritually liberated or are you spiritually malnourished? And then some of you have children who you raise to be addicted to things. You yourself are on the spiritual path, but your children have shamed you into letting them be raised by the demons of society. You are on the spiritual path, but your children are being raised by the demons of society because you're not strong enough. You're not strong enough to withstand the criticism of your children and other people in the neighborhood who says you should let us grow up worshiping merchandise and materialism. See, spiritual work is more than religious beliefs. Spiritual work is more than religious beliefs. Religion can be a bridge. Religion can be a destination. For some people, religion is a destination. That's where they're going to be forever, tied to their religion. Other people, it's a bridge.